Okay, I'm excited about this new series that I'm calling Money Diaries. And what you're going to see in Money Diaries is me walking through scenarios of real clients who come to me who want help figuring out their finances. In my Stop Budgeting course, I walk through all of the steps of getting the information so that you can get to this place of having your money in my tracker. And now that the money is in the tracker, there are some questions that this client, I have different kinds of households to walk through and talk through in the Money Diaries. This one today is specifically a single mom raising 2 kids. She's in a new job. She's got some stuff going on financially. And in her words, she feels like she's a hot mess. I've heard that over and over and over again. And so what I've done is I've taken the names out of it, the individual scenario out of it to keep things neutral, and also just so you can maybe even see yourself in this situation. So this is as if I'm coaching this single mom one-on-one, and I'm walking through and looking at her money with her and talking about how she can get on a new path with spending, how she can feel more grounded. That was one thing that she shared, is she just didn't feel like she was grounded. She didn't know how to, because she's in sales, which I get a lot of people in sales. Her income goes up and down and it's not regular. She doesn't have a fixed income and it's hard to plan. It's hard to know, which has kept her in a paycheck to paycheck cycle. So we want to bust through the paycheck to paycheck cycle and also get into a rhythm of spending so that she can make progress toward the other goals that she has in her life, which is staying out of debt, growing her financial life, helping her kids get to the next level in their lives, and all the things that you may want too. So what I'm going to do is walk through the money tracker. It's called the Single Mom Money Tracker, and tell you what I see. We had a good conversation because she wasn't sure. She really didn't know month to month what she was making. This is a common experience of people that come into my world, is that they know that they have enough money to pay their bills, but the pain point is after bills are paid, money feels like it's all over the place. One question I asked her was, how do you make decisions about spending? How do you know what you have to spend and what you don't have to spend? And she was like, I don't. Basically, there's money in the account, I have it. There's money not in the account, I don't have it. Again, this is very common for people who come to me who are living paycheck to paycheck, not because they don't have enough money, because there's no rhythm, there's no flow, there's no game plan, there's no system. And this is how we all learn, I think, in a lot of ways, how to deal with our money. Money comes in, money goes back out. And so she's working with me now to learn how to start saving and control the situation that she's in. So one thing I told her, and you'll see this in her numbers, is that I think she's doing a really good job of managing things. Even though she feels a certain way, this is our emotional relationship with money. Overall, looking at it, outside looking in, I think that she's doing actually a really good job with what she has. We want to keep her on that rhythm and that flow. So looking at her money here, the first thing we did is I had her track her income. So I have the KIS Money Worksheet. It stands for Keep It Simple. Welcome to my world. I like to keep money really, really simple. I had her fill out the KIS Money Worksheet prior to her session with me, and it's in the flow of what she makes, what she spends, and what she keeps. And then we took that data and we put it into my 12-month money tracker, and we started looking at her money from there. Before we got into the actual conversation of her money, we did some emotional work, which you're not going to see here. And again, a lot of that emotional work I bring into my individual sessions with clients. And a lot of it is in the Stop Budgeting course, looking at your emotional relationship with money, your history with money, why you're doing the things that you're doing. And of course, in a one-on-one environment relationship with me, I can pull things out of her. You can do some of this work on your own. You can't do all this work on your own, but a lot of it is in the Stop Budgeting course. So I took the KIS Money Worksheet and I put it into my 12-month money tracker, which is what you're seeing here. We started with this year and where we're at right now, and we put in her income. Now, for those of you who are maybe in a new income situation, or sometimes your income fluctuates, it would be beneficial for you to go back and look at 90 days. Go back and look at the last 90 days of your income. We can find an average in there and start working with that average. When we do the 90-day assessment, looking back at 90 days, your 90-day audit is what I call it, there is a number that is usually like your lowest number. Like we know that your income fluctuates, but there's a minimum that you always make. And that minimum would be the number that I put into the tracker to try to project and look forward. If I had a crystal ball, what would your finances look like? It's that lowest number that we would look at to start. And then as you get into a tracking relationship and you start tracking your money, this is not the same as budgeting, but just looking at it, tracking at it, setting up some systems, you'll be able to learn how to navigate the highs and lows. Something to mention about the 12-month money tracker as you see me working in it is that this is a cash flow. So it does work differently than a budget because a budget is static. It's a 1-month framework. I have some clients that I'm working with that are working in Monarch, which is actually a pretty decent tool. Mint was sold to Monarch. Monarch bought it. And it gives you a budget month to month. But what it doesn't do, which I haven't found that it does yet, is do a cash flow of showing how your money rolls over from 1 month to the next. The quickest way to break out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle, one is to have a new spending system, which I'm going to talk about here, and then also to look at your money as a rolling cash flow month to month. It's very helpful in being able to project what cash you're going to have as the months move forward. Okay, so back to the screen. Her income is about $8,000 a month, so we can see that there. That was the average. And then we have her bills. So we have her mortgage at $2,500 a month, car insurance, Spotify, cell phone payment, all the normal kind of expenses. One thing that's in here is school tuition. And I do have a lot of families who have their kids in private school and or going to college. We always want to make sure that we have this tuition in your fixed expenses, because even though it may be temporary, maybe they're in their last year of private school, or it's just going to be a few years, it makes a big difference in your cash flow, making sure you have the money that you need. Some of you have 529 plans. Even if you're pulling that money from a 529 plan, we would want to put it in your money in category. So money in from 529 plan. So it's not just income that we're looking at. Again, this is your cash flow that we're looking at. So we would say that maybe you're pulling in $1,500 a month or something from your 529. That goes in there too, okay? Then we have YouTube, energy bill, all the normal things, braces. My son just got his braces out. We put those in here. Thank God that payment's done, but you get it, right? Put all the things that you're paying for monthly. Doing that 90-day audit, that tool is in the Stop Budgeting System course. You can grab that 90-day audit tracker, start there, pull everything down, make sure you get everything, and then we put it into this 12-month money tracker. All right, so total bills out, including tuition, $5,926-ish. It changes month to month. Sometimes you have quarterly bills that pop in. I get all of those things. I get a lot of questions about things. Those things, you'll see how I pull it out for the next few months. And then we have spending. This is not something that is so easily tracked. And the spending category is where most of my clients are judging themselves the most. What they're spending, how they're spending, where money's going. This client did her spending tracker. We looked at different categories that she was spending money in, but I'll be honest, most people when they're doing this exercise for the first time are guesstimating on what they're spending. It doesn't necessarily serve you to give yourself PTSD from what you're spending. If you do the look back 90 days, do it from a place of this is what's happened. I can't change the past. We're not trying to re-traumatize you by looking at all of that spending. And especially if you're a couple going through this, you want to make sure that you're coming from a place of, so what, now what? Okay, so what? That's what we spent in the past. Now what? Now what do we do to course correct and get into a new flow? What's most important about this mama's tracker is that we can see that we think that she's going to be making about $8,000 a month. She has money coming in from a 529, which is awesome. She's been saving for that. And so after bills, after her income and her bills, what she's got left is about $3,500, $3,573. You're like, well, Lisa, the math isn't mathing. Okay, well, if I take out the 529, it would be less. She would have about $2,000 left, but because she is bringing in money from the 529 every month, it's totally fine then. We just bring in the $1,500 that offsets that. So she actually has $3,573-ish. Again, monthly, it's going to vary after bills are paid to work with. So how do we start working with it? Well, for her, the first place we went was into monthly spending. We looked at the averages of what she was spending on what, food, eating out, entertainment, kids stuff, and we realized that she was actually spending a lot on eating out, but that there's more than what she wanted to spend eating than just Uber Eats or whatever she was spending her money on. So let's say that if she were to spend, this is why I think this exercise is so simple, because it really just cuts to the chase of what you actually have every single month to spend or not spend. If she were to have $3,000 a month to spend, and she implemented the stop budgeting system method, which is move money into a spending account, she would have a total of $750 a week to spend on stuff, on life. That number feels like a lot for most people because your brain can't see or know that you actually have that amount, but the math is the math. And so in a 4-week month, you're going to have about $750 a week to spend on all the things, eating out, entertainment, after your bills are paid. This one piece, this one thing, when I show clients, when they do this exercise, is life-changing. To realize that you do have money to spend. And that was the aha that she had. She realized she did have money to spend. Then it puts the ball back into her court, into her control, so she can then decide what it is that she wants to do with that money. Now, there is some debt that she wants to handle, and we'll flip over to that in a minute. There are some things that she wants to handle financially on the other side. And so it can't all go to spending. But what I will say, and what's really, really important to emphasize here, is that if you don't get a handle on your spending first, and you don't feel like you have control and rhythm and choices, you will go back into debt even if you get out of debt. You could decide to prioritize getting out of debt, which is the Dave Ramsey method. We're going to prioritize getting you out of debt first. You're going to cut back all of your spending. But at some point, that spending needs to open back up into a rhythm and a flow. And other things that you want to do, like travel, need to be incorporated into the game plan. I'm not the money coach that's going to tell you to super rigidly and stringently get out of debt first. What's actually most important for me, for you, is that you get your spending into a rhythm and a flow. Ideal life, everything flows. This is what she has, though. This is what she's making. She's committed to making that work. So I said, okay, let's try this first. If it wasn't $750 a week, this is tracking, tweaking, playing with it. What if we brought it down to $600 a week? Based on what you know is going on in your household, do you think $600 a week would work? She's like, yeah, let's start there and let's incorporate the plan and let's see how it goes. That's where we started with her coaching. If she were to do that, she would then have $1,173 left in the month to be able to save and pay off debt with. And then there's the kids. So I have my kids on the green light, and the green light card we fund every single week for both kids at $25 each. So I have that in my money tracker. I have green light card, and that every single week $25 is going to each green light account for each kid. That's $50 a week. So I multiply that by the number of weeks in the month, and that adds up in my spender. If she were to do that, we didn't talk about that, but I thought it would be important for us to bring it up here. If she were to do that, kid 1 would get $100 a month, and kid 2 would get $100 a month. So that's there as well in the tracker, which brings her down to about $900 that she has left to pay off debt with and to travel with. So we can bring that into the bottom part. So if she were to start saving, which I think is really, really important, and not enough people save enough to get started before they start getting out of debt. I said, what if you started saving $500 a month? How would that feel? What would that look like for you to be able to put money in savings for the first time in a really long time? And she felt like that was going to be a really great way for her to bring her confidence up, to boost her confidence. She's like, if I can pay all of my bills, when I can spend money and put money into savings, my confidence will go up. I'll feel really, really happy. I said, okay, rock and roll, let's do that. And then we've got a little extra to start putting into debt if that's what you want to start doing first. And then we'll see how this game plan rolls out. So the next thing I did in the tracker is I pulled out, I like to do it all the way out to the end of the year, honestly, so you can really get an idea of how this is going to support you and serve you as you grow and as you make these changes. For a lot of people, it's motivating too, to be like, wow, this is going to be awesome over time. So I pulled it out to the end of the year. I pull out her spending till the end of the year. Now this isn't a science, y'all. Like this isn't all just magically going to fix everything that's going on, but it's a really great start for you to be able to see new possibilities. I think that's super important. And then open up a high yield savings account. Open up a new savings account and start putting $500 a month into that account. Here's what happens. Even if, so we're up in May, starting this month, even if she started with very little in her bank account to start the month with, what she's going to see is that with the $9,500 that's coming in every single month, as long as she's pulling out of the $529, her bills are paid, she has money to spend, her kids have money to spend, and she's also saving. Check, check, check. Life can get grounded again. The hot mess express can settle down. Your nervous system can settle down. You can start to tell your brain you have money. Coming from a place where you don't feel like you have any money, that is so powerful. To see and to know in a pretty logical way, pretty easy way, once you get used to looking at your numbers moving this way, that you have money and you have a future and freedom is on the way. This is the ultimate feeling of freedom. I know there's a lot of talk and buzz about wanting to retire, and at some point you'll get there. I know that. But if you can just change the way that you look at things and the way that you look at your money, everything has the ability to change from there. So from doing this exercise, she can see not only does she have money to meet all of the needs that she has in her life, it's going to require her to adjust the way that she's spending. What we talked about is her opening up a spending account, stop banking out of one account. You've heard me say that before on my channel. Move money into a spending account. Start working with that money every single week, $600 every single week. Experience yourself spending that. And if you need to adjust it, now you have a place to adjust it and know what the repercussions of adjusting it are going to actually be. In the cash flow, you see from this beginning bank balance, line 3, the money builds. If you just for a few months stick to the plan, put money in savings, you're going to have $1,500 in savings. And not only are you going to have $1,500 in savings, you're going to have $1,000 in your checking account rolling over. That continues to grow. This one thing, this tracking your money and then having a spending account and putting money in your spending account, you break the paycheck to paycheck cycle. And I think more people need that with clarity that you do have a future financially. It's not all gloom and doom. Once you settle on this and this feels doable, implement it. I'm not going to talk about debt. I didn't actually talk about a get out of debt plan with her. I will share a few things that are going on her and what I could see possible for her with her debt, but we left it there. I said, listen, just work on this for a few months. Work on implementing the system, work on spending, work on enjoying the money that you have to spend versus beating yourself up for the money that you have to spend. Work on putting money in savings and keeping it there. Work on your vision, grow your vision for work. Go make more money. That's another thing we talked about. Go be inspired to reach your sales goals and make more money, because when you do that, you have even more money to spend. How wonderful is that? And then flipping over to her net worth tracker, this is kind of where we left off, but this isn't everything. We tracked her assets, where her cash is right now, what her home is worth, all the things. And then she does have some debt that she wants to get out of. And so along with tracking for the first 90 days, I don't remember what the value of her home was. We were gonna come back to the debt repayment plan once she had a handle on her household spending. This is a recipe for success. Get a handle on your spending, get a handle on the flow of money in and out, gain a new appreciation and control for the money that you have that is coming in and how you're working with it. And once you are on stable footing, solid ground there, we're gonna get you out of debt. Do this first. I hope that looking at this single mama situation has been helpful for you. I'd love to hear in the comments what was valuable for you, what questions you have. And also, if you want me to analyze your finances, send me a DM in my Instagram account at Savvy Money with Lisa. DM me, say, hey, I would love for you to analyze my stuff on your channel. And if you're the lucky one, I'll put you into the next Money Diaries episode where I'll ask you some questions. You'll give me some information, and I will have a whole episode dedicated to your finances so that you can learn how to get things under control for yourself and realize for yourself that you have an amazing future ahead of you. I'll see you next time.